Hello, I'm Matthew Shilvock, the General Director of San Francisco Opera, and I'm thrilled to be here in our costume shop welcoming you to the opera's 2025-26 season, our 103rd. It's hard to believe that 3 years have passed since our centennial, but I am so proud of what the company has accomplished in these years. There has been a surge of creative energy with new works, new productions, and new artists. We are seeing more new people come to the opera than ever before. 46% of all single ticket buyers last fall were brand new to us, and they're returning at record rates, meaning that a whole new generation is falling in love with opera. It's a very exciting time. And we continue to experiment with new ways of connecting audiences and operas, with our Encounter series, with Bohème Out of the Box, and with our Opera in You program, a storytelling collaboration with the San Francisco Public Library. Opera stories are our stories. They are stories that bind us together in shared humanity. They bring together the collective experience of human emotion to remind us that our own experiences are shared with all those who have loved, lost, hoped, despaired, lived. The 2025-26 season will be my 10th as your General Director and my 20th here at the company. Every single day I walk through the stage door, I feel a visceral sense of awe for what we do. San Francisco Opera is an extraordinary community where people from across a wide array of artistic and technical disciplines join together with you, our donors and subscribers, and something very special emerges. Operas are collective endeavors, and this community makes possible some of the finest opera experiences in the world. I still pinch myself that I get to be a part of this with all of you. Thank you for caring so deeply. Thank you for enabling us to dream of what could be possible and then allowing us to bring those dreams to reality. Our artistic work comes out of a strong vision for the company, one that can be characterized in 4 key points. First, we produce awe-inspiring artistic experiences that bring people together in a shared expression of what it means to be human. Second, we bring together a world-class creative community, which has, for the last century, ensured that we're one of the great opera companies in the world. Third, we're trusted by the community to produce work of meaning to the Bay Area. And fourth, we're on the creative edge, broadening the lens of storytelling, commissioning important new work, and bringing together visionaries to define the future of opera. This vision is resonating powerfully. As I mentioned, we're seeing the incredible energy of the box office. The fall season saw 79% of the seats sold, which is a tremendous result. The fall included a completely sold-out run of Carmen, every single seat sold before we even opened. It's a good reminder to get your seats early. We saw 1,200 new subscribers last year, and around 400 new donors joined the company. And we sold almost 4,000 Dolby tickets this fall, and over 2,000 OSHA subscriptions, our introductory programs aimed at people who have not been to the opera before. There's an incredible momentum happening. As I mentioned last year at this time, we are working to thread a needle between 2 realities, the hugely positive energy of the stage and our audiences, and then the much more challenging economic realities being faced by so many arts companies at the moment, including ourselves. I want to give you reassurance that we are taking the long-term health of the company very seriously, and we are working to ensure that we can continue to produce the kind of transcendent opera that has long defined this company, and which you'll see in this new season. I am so looking forward to getting started. It's a season in which we'll celebrate San Francisco Opera's role as one of the leading commissioners of new operas, with 2 works. We have a thrilling world premiere with Hwang and David Henry Hwang's The Monkey King. And we also have the 25th anniversary celebration of Jake Heggie and Terrence McNally's Dead Man Walking. We continue Unsung Kim's exploration of Wagner and Verdi with a brand new production of Parsifal and the return of our classic Rigoletto. And we head back to the extreme emotional drama of Strauss's massive Elektra, paired with the jovial exuberance of Rossini's timeless The Barber of Seville. For the first time ever, we'll have 4 Saturday matinees, which many of you have told us you'd like to see. We'll continue our live streams so that you can experience our performances wherever you are in the world, and this is a free benefit to full season subscribers. And we'll continue our exciting programs of Bohème Out of the Box and The Encounter. So let's delve into the titles now, beginning with our 2 new productions. New productions are the lifeblood of an opera company. As we've seen over the last few years, they are the expression of our core artistic vision, reimagining great works of the canon and introducing new works into the repertoire. They bring together the artistic, musical, and production forces of the company in exciting new ways, and they affirm to the world what San Francisco Opera stands for and the caliber of the total artistry created right here in the Bay Area. When I took on this role 10 years ago, the question people were most interested in was simple: what operas are you going to program? I was hesitant to speculate too much, but I did hint at 2 things: Wagner's Parsifal and the work of the French Baroque composer Rameau. I figured that after 10 years, I should bring at least one of those to life. We've been on the quest for the right Parsifal for San Francisco Opera for over a decade now. It's such a special piece, and we wanted to produce it in a way that would work for our time and for our community. And I'm ecstatic at what's emerging. Parsifal marks the next chapter in Eun-Sun Kim's journey through Wagner's operas en route to the Ring. And what a sublime journey it is. So many of you let me know how moving you found the Tristan last year, and we are in for a Parsifal that will resonate with beauty, depth, and meaning. It's been awe-inspiring to hear Eun-Sun Kim breathe a new Wagnerian style into the musical forces of the company. Her interpretations allow us to find the inner truths of Wagner's operas, blending profound reflection with their urgent messages of humanity. There is a shimmering translucence that she brings to the orchestra, everyone breathing together in complete oneness with the music. That degree of trust and symbiosis should be at the heart of Parsifal, and we'll have that here. As we looked for the right production concept, we were so moved by Matthew Ozawa's new production of Orpheus and Eurydice in 2022 that we asked him to imagine a new Parsifal. We just saw the designs in November, and they are stunning. Parsifal is Wagner's last opera, and one of those extraordinary culminations of a lifetime of experience. Wagner had sketched out 2 operas that he never wrote, one on the life of Jesus of Nazareth, and another, Die Sieger, or The Victors, which features a legend from the life of the Buddha. I believe that in Parsifal he fused those 2 essential ideas and created something deeply universal. It's that universality that Matthew Ozawa hopes to unlock in an exploration of the mystery of faith and how the rituals and traditions of faith are passed from generation to generation. Matthew wants to invite all of us in the audience into the ritual of the piece, to feel like we are on the journey of the Grail. Matthew and his designers, Robert Innes Hopkins, Jessica Jahn, and Yuki Nakase Link, and choreographer Rena Butler, have envisioned Parsifal around 2 concentric turntables that move slowly in opposite directions, a world in motion. Out of the turntables come 24 columns, and those columns allow us to magically and seamlessly morph from the opening forest to the Hall of the Knights of the Grail, an important synthesis of nature and architecture. The costumes integrate East and West, creating a beautiful world of timeless myth. These designs give you a sense of the transcendence that we'll experience when we raise the curtain on Parsifal for the first time in 25 years this fall. We have a very special cast of principal artists joining us. Helden tenor Brandon Jovanovic makes his return to the company in the title role. This will be Brandon's first time here since his 2019 Rusalka, which marked Eun-Sun Kim's debut with the company. Kwang Chul-yun, just here as King Marka in Tristan, returns in the pivotal role of Gurnemans, the knight desperate to find a future for the order. Brian Mulligan is Amfortas, the current leader who suffers from an unhealable wound from which he can never recover and never find release or redemption. Falk Struckmann, Alberic in the 2018 Ring cycle, is Klingsor, the malevolent force bent on the destruction of the order. And we're thrilled to welcome Tanja Ariana Baumgartner to the company for her debut as Kundry, the shape-shifting feminine force of the opera so desperately needed by the knights. Undertaking a new Parsifal is one of those moments that defines the artistic signature of an opera company. It is a vast, epic work of the human spirit, and to take it on anew is a major statement. I am so proud that we're doing this with Unsun Kim at the helm. It will be a moment of profound connection for us all later this year. Just after Parsifal, we'll open our new world premiere, The Monkey King. This is going to be extraordinary. It builds on the success of our other opera on a work of Chinese fiction, Dream of the Red Chamber, which sold out its original run in 2016 and then went on to performances in Hong Kong, Beijing, Wuhan, and Changsha. We turn to another of the great four Chinese novels, Journey to the West, and with the incredible partnership of our dear friends at the Chinese Heritage Foundation in Minneapolis, we have commissioned composer Huang and playwright and librettist David Henry Hwang to compose an opera on the first chapter of the Journey to the West. This is the chapter that introduces us to the irreverent, powerful, scheming, but lovable character of the Monkey King. He is a character that has delighted centuries of readers and has made his mark in cartoons, movies, television series, and just a few months ago, a PlayStation video game, Black Myth Wukong, which had 18 million downloads in just the first 2 months on the market. Very briefly, the story centers on the growth of the monkey's power. The monkey nation is looking for a safe home, but only one monkey is brave enough to secure this. He is crowned the Monkey King, but his thirst for power is only just beginning. He craves immortality, so he goes to study with a Taoist priest, and he grows in strength and skill. After being expelled for his outsized ego, the monkey heads to the god of the seas, seeking out the biggest weapon he can find. He then visits heaven, where he begins to wreak havoc amidst some epic battle sequences. In desperation, the gods call on the Buddha to help. The Buddha tricks the monkey into being imprisoned under the palm of his hand, where he is kept for 500 years, learning humility and enlightenment. And that's just chapter 1. We have a lot of material for sequels. The Monkey King is a fantastical story of myth and legend, of battles and magic. One of the things that we realized early on is that we had to find some moments of reflection, and Huang and David Henry Hwang have beautifully interspersed a number of Buddhist sutras, sung in Chinese, the rest of the opera being sung in English. These sutras give us moments of reflection that one can imagine the monkey having in his 500 years as a guest of the Buddha. We recorded one of these sutras with Megwei Zhang, who will play the main female character of Guan Yin, and pianist and long-term member of the company, John Churchwell. This is taken from the Diamond Sutra, and it's entitled All Dharmas Are Equal. Let's take a listen to a brief excerpt. There is such beautiful writing in this piece, and I'm so excited by the approach that Huang and David have taken. We've assembled a fabulous cast of Asian and Asian American artists to tell the story of the Monkey King. We welcome back artists like Megwei Zhang, Konu Kim, and Hon Yi Wu, who were in the 2022 Red Chamber. former Adler Hwang, and debuting artists Hwang, Peijin Chen, and Jusung Gabriel Park. Debuting conductor Carolyn Kwan will be on the podium. Now, visually, you may wonder how we're going to pull off all this magic. Well, we're creating a world of ephemerality, of movement, of worlds constantly shifting. Acclaimed director Diane Paulus and San Francisco-born puppeteer Basil Twist have brought together a fabulous group of designers who have envisioned a colorful, mythical world of silks, lights, and puppets, a world that morphs and changes in a moment from the depths of the seas to the heavenly realm. The Monkey King will have 3 incarnations: a singing monkey, a movement monkey, and a puppet monkey, allowing us to realize the impossible on stage. A monkey who can sing opera, perform martial arts, and fly for thousands of miles. The costumes by Hong Kong designer Anita Yarvich are bold, captivating, and full of the vitality that is at the heart of this piece. This will be a piece unlike anything we've had on our stage, and I'm so excited to introduce it to you. It's a major undertaking and a wonderful celebration of a great and beloved work of Chinese literature. It's an honor to bring it to the San Francisco Opera stage. So 2 very exciting new productions next season, both being built as I speak by San Francisco Opera's very own artisans in our scene shop and in our wonderful costume workshop. I mentioned earlier that the 2025-26 season is a celebration of San Francisco Opera's long-standing role as a commissioner of major new works of the repertory. I hope that Monkey King will be one such work, but we know unabashedly that Jake Heggie and Terrence McNally's Dead Man Walking is part of the global pantheon of operas. We bring it back to the stage where it all began 25 years ago, when San Francisco Opera gave the world premiere of a work that has gone on to become the most performed contemporary opera of our time. And for good reason. Jake and Terrence wrote a piece of searing insight into people tested to the limits. A piece that in many ways opened the door to a new genre of opera, unafraid to go deep into difficult subjects that allow us to see emotion at the edge. Works like Innocence stand in lineage of this. It was a profoundly important commission by my predecessor, Lotfi Mansouri, one that brought local composer Jake Heggie to the attention of the world, and that created a work of profoundly moving intensity. Dead Man Walking is an operatic telling of the memoir of the same name by Sister Helen Prejean, whose advocacy for the abolition of the death penalty comes from her own experience as spiritual advisor to a number of people on death row. Her book radically shifted the American perspective on the death penalty, and it was a privilege for this company to tell her story on the operatic stage in 2000, and it will be a privilege to bring it back for its 25th anniversary. The opera takes us on Sister Helen's journey as she first decides whether to be a spiritual advisor to Joseph de Rocher, convicted of the brutal rape and murder of 2 teenagers and awaiting execution on death row. Sister Helen's faith is tested as she weaves a pathway between her compassionate wish for Joseph to acknowledge and atone for his crimes, the terror she sees in Joseph's mother, who is trying to grapple with her son's imminent execution, and the profound sorrow and loss of the parents of the murdered teenagers, who struggle to understand why Sister Helen is devoting herself to the well-being of a murderer. The issues are big, complex, and very human. This is an opera that allows us to feel the extremes of human capacity for emotion and for faith. We're bringing an iconic production by theatre director Leonard Follier, whose productions of Jake Heggie's Moby Dick and It's a Wonderful Life have appeared on our stage. Another very close collaborator of Jake's, Patrick Summers, returns to conduct the work after giving the premieres of almost all of Jake's operas over the last 25 years. There is no one who understands the extraordinary drama and lyricism of Jake's music as well as Patrick, our former principal guest conductor here at San Francisco Opera, and we're so happy to welcome him back. Also from the original production, but in a different role, is Susan Graham. Susan was the original Sister Helen in 2000, and she now returns as Mrs. Patrick de Rocher, a role that she triumphed in at the Met recently. Our sister Helen will be the incomparable Jamie Barton, last with us as Heggie Barber in Rusalka in 2019. Ryan McKinney, who gave such a powerful portrayal in John Adams' Girls of the Golden West, is Joseph de Rocher. This promises to be a very special return to one of San Francisco Opera's most important and lasting commissions. Human emotion tested to the limits is also very evident in one of our summer operas next season, Richard Strauss's Elektra. This is an opera that condenses all of the emotional anguish, intense familial relationships, brutal vengeance, and unrelenting bloodlust of Sophocles' play into a 100-minute musical explosion, quite unique in the repertoire. It features the largest orchestra of the standard repertory, with over 100 players, including 8 horns, 6 trumpets, 2 sets of timpani, and the gloriously named heckelphone. It's a tour de force of orchestral writing, and I can't wait to hear this brought to life by our music director, Eun-Sun Kim. She has a way of unlocking the full color palette of the orchestra, something I recently experienced in London, where she made her debut at the Royal Opera House with Puccini's Tosca. It was a reminder of how much dynamic range Eun-Sun can realize from an orchestra. She takes them to the quietest whispers and then the most raging explosions of sound, but always with such purpose and such dramatic intent. Seeing that play out with Electra is going to be an awe-inspiring experience. Electra demands 3 absolutely extraordinary female leads, and our managing director artistic, Greg Henkel, has most certainly assembled them. In the title role, we have debuting soprano Elena Pankratova, a role that she has sung in Vienna, Dresden, Munich, Hamburg, Amsterdam, Tokyo, Frankfurt, Paris, Barcelona, just to name a few. Electra's mother, Clytemnestra, whose brutal murder of her father Electra is determined to avenge, will see the return of the great German mezzo Michaela Schuster. Her portrayal of the old prioress in Dialogues of the Carmelites threw us all against the back wall of the theatre with its sheer force of drama. And then Electra's sister, the more conciliatory Chrysothemis, will be played by Adler alumna and dramatic soprano superstar Elsa van den Heever, most recently on our stage in Fidelio, and who has just triumphed as the Empress in Strauss's Frau Neuschattel at the Metropolitan Opera. Imagine these 3 extraordinary voices and a 100-piece orchestra under Eun-Sun Kim, and you have a sense of what is in store. I'm so happy that we're bringing back our production from 2017 by Keith Warner. The production is set in an art museum that is hosting an exhibit on the Electra myth. A young woman struggling with her own anguish is accidentally locked into the museum as it closes for the night. She is suddenly transported into the world of Electra, her own life and the story melding with the Greek myth. Artifacts and truths come to life in a reminder that our own life stories and challenges have all been lived before. Myths resonate across time for a reason. The production, designed by Boris Kudlichka, who incidentally also designs real-life museums, is a clean, clever, and captivating space for this story within a story, and it was enthusiastically received by audiences and press alike in 2017. I've already talked about Eun-Sun's Wagner journey with Parsifal, but let's now turn to her Verdi journey for the season. We open the season with Verdi's mid-period classic Rigoletto, written in 1851. Incidentally, it only took 9 years for it to reach San Francisco with its local premiere here in July 1860, although its most popular arias were heard here even earlier thanks to the Italian organ grinders. Rigoletto is one of Verdi's most tightly constructed and beloved of operas, an opera as intense in its dramatic urgency as it is lyrically beautiful in its soaring melodies and ensembles. That blend of lyricism and drama is felt in so many extraordinary numbers, from the shimmering stratosphere of a young girl's first love with Gilda's Caro Nome, to the raw hurt of a father's urgent plea for his daughter's return in Rigoletto's monologue Cortegiani, to the sublime quartet at the end of the opera Bella Figlia dell'Amore, in which four completely different perspectives blend in music of such beauty and drive. Verdi explored father-daughter relationships in a good number of his operas. He was likely working through the loss of his own children when they were each just a year old. Rigoletto is a particularly poignant expression of this relationship. Rigoletto has such love for his daughter and is so focused on keeping her protected from the licentious, hateful world that he inhabits, that his plan to save her ultimately results in her death. It is one of those operas that becomes a changing mirror of truths as we move through our own lives. Rigoletto requires a spectacular group of principal artists, and I'm so excited for our cast. The title character will see the return of Mongolian baritone Amatufshin Enkbat, who had such a triumph in this season's Barlow in Mascara. His voice is a revelation, filling the hall with a radiant nobility, but also that sharper edge or bite which allows Verdi's baritones to get into the harsher realities of human experiences. No matter how many times you may have seen Rigoletto, Amatufshin's performances are something I encourage you to run to the opera house to see. His daughter Gilda will mark the return of Romanian soprano Adela Zaharia, who was our Donna Anna in the 2022 Don Giovanni. The Duke will be the house debut of rising star Italian tenor Giovanni Sala. American mezzo Janae Bridges returns as the captivating Sister Maddalena to the assassin Sparafucile, played by Chinese-based Peijin Chen. We'll return to our classic production, inspired by the forced perspective of Italian artist Giorgio Di Chirico. This promises to be a thrilling Rigoletto and a great season opener. The sixth opera of the season is also a classic. It was the opera we took outside when we couldn't perform inside, The Barber of Seville, which marked our return from the pandemic with our innovative drive-in production in Marin. In June 2026, we bring it back to the Opera House in our classic Emilio Sarhi production, in which the sun-bleached architecture of Spain vies with the bold, colorful costumes and dances of flamenco, taking us right into the heart of its eponymous Seville. It's believed that Rossini composed the music for The Barber of Seville in less than 3 weeks. That's good going for what's become one of the most beloved and performed operas of all time. As with La Bohème this season, we have 2 casts for Barber, which allow us to bring a wonderful array of young artists to the stage, all under the baton of returning maestro Benjamin Manis, who made such a thrilling impression conducting Carmen last fall. Our Rosinas will be mezzos Hon Yi-woo and debuting Maria Cateva. Both of our Count Almovivas will be debuting, tenors Levi Segapane, who was to have debuted during the pandemic, and Jack Swanson. Joshua Hopkins, who debuted in It's a Wonderful Life, returns as one of our jack-of-all-trade Figaros, and Justin Austin will debut as the other. Justin just received the Rising Star of the Year award at the 2024 International Opera Awards. We love welcoming new voices to the War Memorial stage, and this Barber of Seville will be a great opportunity to get to know a number of the most exciting emerging talents. In addition to our 6 operas, our fall concert conducted by Eunsun Kim and featuring the San Francisco Opera Orchestra will include that most famous of all symphonies, the fate-propelled Symphony No. 5 by Beethoven. Also on the program will be works by Spanish composer Manuel de Falla, featuring beloved San Francisco Opera mezzo Daniela Mack, last on our stage as Rosmira in Partenape and as Frida Kahlo in Frida y Diego. It promises to be a fabulous program. And then in June 2026, we return to the stage for our one-night-only Pride concert, leading into Pride Weekend and celebrating the incredible role that the Pride Festival has played in this city since the 1970s. Talking of concerts, the opening weekend at Golden Gate Park will mark the 50th anniversary of the event, an incredible testament to the passion this community has for opera. Our encounter this season will be in the summer, The Barber of Seville, part opera, part party. How could we pass up that chance to exploit the barber's hijinks, or find a way to work copious amounts of shaving cream into the fun-filled evening? And look out for dates next spring for the return of Bohème Out of the Box as we take the opera to communities all around the Bay Area in our unique converted shipping container. I am so excited about the 25-26 season. The level of artistry in the theatre under the musical leadership of An-sun Kim is in a very special place. Every time she steps onto the podium, we learn something new about these works. Opera is an organic, living, quite literally breathing art form that exists in the moment in a beautiful synergy between artists and audiences. As subscribers, you invest in the totality of these experiences, allowing us to envision seasons of great variety, taking us on journeys from the great classics that have stood the test of time to new operas that we get to see for the very first time on the War Memorial stage. This is the creative fingerprint of San Francisco, a reverence for the past and a hunger for the new. As subscribers and donors, you allow us to chart a course of incredible artistic possibility for this company. Whether you're returning for your 50th year of subscription or enjoying your first with one of our incredible OSHA packages, you're part of a wonderful community of opera goers devoted to the artistic vitality of the Bay Area. I am so proud of what we have coming up in the 25-26 season, and I'm very excited to share in it together. Thank you for being a part of something so extraordinary.